So here is the starting grid for the penultimate race of the weekend. It's the Junior Max RMC Belgium final. Here is your starting grid. Thijs van Wijk from the Netherlands in the 246 will start from pole position. On the inside of the front row, Bran van der Weken from Belgium in the 296 will join him on the front row on the outside. It's an all-Belgian row number 2 with Thomas Verheyen in the 288 and Lars Lambers in the 242. Lieke van Berkel and Rick Corporaal in the 285 and the 244 comprise row 3 ahead of Boris Maximov in the 230 with Nout den Engelsman in the number 249 alongside on row 4. Completing the top 10, Nicolas Machon in the 272 and Tristan Shays in the 213 with Nicolas Nijs and Jot van Ekelen in the 219 and the 277 completing the field that are set to go into battle for 12 minutes plus an additional lap. So air temperature 26 degrees Celsius. It's been stable like this for the majority of the afternoon, but the drivers now getting towards the end of the formation lap ahead of their last race of this weekend, and then they'll head to the Home of Champions on the 22nd of September for the 4th and final round, which will then decide which driver, who is an RACB recognised licence holder, will go to Sarno to the 25th anniversary of the Rotax Grand Finals in Sarno in late October to represent the Red Devils. Into the tram lines we go. Revs rise, lights are out, and it's going to be a drag race towards turns 1 and 2. Van der Weken held out a little bit to dry as Verheyen slots in behind Van Wijk. Into turn 2 we go for the first time. Van Wijk mounts the curbing, and Van der Weken trying to get through on Verheyen and makes the move through at turn number 3 on the opening skirmish. Great move there by Bran van der Weken to retake that second position, but Rick Corporaal was hit from behind. Looks more like Boris Maximov has come into contact with the number 244. So already the top 4 have started to break away as a direct result of that. So Boris Maximov has started down in 7th place. Rick Corporaal had already got past Lieke van Berkel. But how much has that hindered Corporaal? Well, it's dropped him quite back quite a few places. And, well, Boris Maximov has ended up not coming through to cross the line. So Boris Maximov, I think, has ended up off circuit and is out. Did not even break the timing beam to conclude the opening lap. So Boris Maximov is the first driver to hit trouble early doors. Rick Corporaal drops down to 9th as a result of the contact, but is still circulating. Jot van Ekelen up 2 places now at 10th, ahead of Nicolas Nijs, who completes the 11 runners and riders still competing. But Thijs van Wijk leads the way ahead of Bran van der Weken. Lars Lambers rounding out the top 3. 4th, Thomas Verheyen. 5th, Lieke van Berkel. And there's been a drama for Nicolas Machon in the meantime. The number 272 running the GKS 11's power has dropped down to 11th behind Jot van Ekelen. And Nicolas Nijs has now moved up to 9th as a result. So Nicolas Machon having a couple of problems with traction issues, I think. And last time round did a 50.646, so might have had a stumble somewhere around the circuit. We did see that earlier on this weekend. More than likely it turns 3, 4 and 5. But Van Wijk leads the way. And what is the gap between Van Wijk and Van der Weken? Just over 7 tenths. So 9 minutes and 30 seconds still to go, plus an additional lap. And there is still plenty to play for. Still possibilities that might happen. Thomas Verheyen starting to close on Lars Lambers. And that is for 3rd place. So more than likely the final step on the rostrum for either drivers. That's Thomas Verheyen trying to do what he can to close on in. to Lars Lambers. Last time around was under 0.2 of a second slower on the previous lap, but is gaining under braking as well. So that could help Verheyen as long as he gets a good run and a good slipstream on Lambers, which he's starting to do now. The pair are about a kart length apart going into turn number 2. And Verheyen getting ever closer still through turn number 5, but loses out ground going through 6. Now through into the next part of the circuit, through 7, 8 and 9. And then it's the short run up the hill, slightly inclined, going through into Mudkurva. But Thijs van Wijk still holding on to the race lead as we have just over 8 minutes to go, plus that additional lap. Lap 5 is completed. Van Wijk now holds a lead of just under 0.8 of a second over Van der Weyken. Lambers having to fight tooth and nail from the attacks permeated by Thomas Verheyen in 4th place in the 288. And Verheyen dives up the inside of turn 5. And that's 3rd place for the number 288 from Belgium. Now, it's one thing to be the hunter, it's another thing to become the hunted, and that's exactly what's happening here between Verheyen and Lambers as they come out of the final corner on the paddock side of the circuit. And over through into turns 1 and 2. Lambers might possibly look to move up the inside. He's going to try the move. A crisscross attempt possibly for Verheyen. No, not quite. I don't think carried enough speed into the corner possibly, or didn't have the wherewithal to try and get through and thought, you know what, Lambers can have that. I'll get him again. There's still under 7 minutes to go. So there's every opportunity for Thomas Verheyen to retake that 3rd place back off of Lars Lambers as they make their way up towards Mudkurva and then into the Michael Schumacher S. And still 11 drivers running in this final race for Junior Rotax for RMC Belgium. But Thijs van Wijk leading the way by just over 0.8 of a second after 7 laps. With Lambers and Verheyen still very much intertwixt in battle for the final step on the rostrum for P3. And Verheyen trying to get his head down whilst trying to follow in the wheel tracks of Lars Lambers. Now through into the Schumacher S and into the final left-hander, bringing them back onto the start-finish straight. Whilst they've been battling away, I have noticed that Lieke van Berkel is starting to catch them and is about less than 7/10 behind Thomas Verheyen. So this could be a very interesting battle towards the end of the race. In around about 5.5 minutes' time, if Van Berkel can close on in, she just did a 45.831, Verheyen 45.924, Lambers 45.888. Van der Weyken, in the meantime, has got the gap down to just over 7/10 between himself and Thijs van Wijk, with the new fastest lap of the race, 45.554. Rick Corporal has been moving up the order, has got past Tristan Shays and now is running in 7th position behind Nout den Engelsman in the 2:49 representing the Netherlands. And Lieke van Berkel is closing ever still. 45.850 from the young lady from the Netherlands, the number 285. 45.926 Verheyen, 45.959 for Lambers, which means 0.8 of a second covers 3rd to 5th. So with just over 4 minutes to go, plus an additional lap, Van Wijk continues to lead. Van der Weyken was about 1/10 slower that time. Rick Corporal has got past Nout den Engelsman and is now back up to 6th place. where the 2:44 started. But then there's a big gap, 4.3 seconds approximately, to Lieke van Berkel. And then you see nu den Engelsman behind Rick Corporal. Meantime, race lead is now being hotly contested. The gap was 6.5 tenths of a second. It's next to nothing now as Bran van der Weyken, with 3.5 minutes to go, starts to put the pressure on to Thijs van Wijk at the front end of the field. Now in the run down to turn number 2. Van der Weyken stays in the wheel tracks. Very sensible decision. Don't want to put all your cards on the table there, in respect to the number 296. However, it's now the point that Van Wijk has to anticipate what Van der Weyken is going to do. Is there going to be a send down the inside at turn 2? Could Van der Weyken throw it around the outside? Well, Julian Dummer has proved that already this weekend in Minimax Germany. So, more to the point, what is going to happen in the next 3 minutes? That's probably going to... Well, we're on lap 12 at the moment and about to complete it. So, going up to 2 minutes and 45 on the timer. Probably going to give us another 5 laps of racing. Van der Weyken trying to look to the inside, tries to force his way through, and Van Wijk says, no, you don't do that. I was closing the gap anyway. Van der Weyken took full advantage of it, as in, I'm going to try and see if I can facilitate the move. It didn't quite work out, so what has he got to do? If at first you don't succeed, try again. So with just 2 minutes to go, the gap between Van Wijk and Van der Weyken is just over 1/10 of a second. Now it's gone significantly more, nearly 4 times that, to just under 4 tenths. But Van der Weyken, very heavy on the brakes going into turn number 2, gets the run out of 2, into the left into 3. Now through the right and the left at 4 and 5. And, well, Boris Maximov, no surprise, he's not taking any further part in the race, but well, after the hit with Rick Corporal, there's a 5-second time penalty coming the Dutchman's way for causing a collision. And back again comes Van der Weyken at Van Wijk. A lot still to happen in this race, and Van der Weyken decides to go to the outside, tries for the crisscross, tries for the switchback on Van Wijk, but unfortunately unable for that to be happening as well. Oh, Van der Weyken is now starting to show signs of desperation and a bit of urgency thrown in the mix as well. More to the point that Van der Weyken's trying every which way but loose to get through. So next time around we go on to our penultimate lap, lap 16 out of 17. So 2 laps remain, just over 2.2 kilometres between Van Wijk and Van der Weyken. Who is going to be the winner after all of this? Van der Weyken switches back to the outside through turn 2 once again, trying to get the overspeed through the corner. Can't get the job done. Now through 3, into 4, into the left at 5. And again, Van Wijk just able to place the car ever so well and keep Van der Weyken at bay. So the timer now expires, and we are about to go on to our 17th and final lap of this part of the competition for round 3 for juniors. So out of the final corner, last lap board is shown. The race is on for the victory here at the F-Landring in Kerpen. Van der Weyken tried to possibly look to the outside. He stayed in the wheel tracks through turn 2 on Van Wijk. Now into 3. And still, Lars Lambers finds himself ahead of Thomas Verheyen in the battle for P3. But the leaders now coming through into the final set of corners here at Kartclub Kerpen in Western Germany. Van der Weyken at one point did lead the race, but coming through Mudcarver. Now into the Michael Schumacher S for the final time. And after 17 laps, round the final corner, Thijs van Wijk takes victory in the final here at round 3 by just 1.33 tenths of a second. Ahead of Bran van der Weken, Lars Lambers rounds out the top 3. Thomas Verheyen 4th, Lieke van Berkel 5th. Rick Corporal recovers after the big hit from behind, courtesy of Boris Maximov, to finish 6th. Ahead of Nu Den Engelsman, Tristan Shays, Nicolas Nys, Nicolas Machon. And we're just waiting for our final driver to cross the line that finished all 17 laps. In 11th position is Jort van Ekelen, with Boris Maximov out on the opening lap with heavy damage to the front of his moving power Tony kart, eliminating from the race. But look at that, a sign of solidarity as Bouvin Power lock out the top 3 in the junior final.